From Florida, a powerhouse of vitamin C.
Orange is smart for drinking orange juice.
I'm Florida, Florida orange, and I'm loaded with vitamin C.
Next time you shop, take home a bag full of sweet, extra juicy Florida oranges.
Orange is smart.
We've got an industry that embodies Florida.
There's something just healthy and natural about being a citrus grower.
I remember driving down 27 and thinking, wow, this is big agriculture.
27 has been that north-south corridor for moving citrus.
It's been the bloodline of the citrus industry in Central Florida.
You could have years where you could make boatloads of money, but then you'd also have years with the freeze.
Greening has taken a horrible toll.
It sent tremors through the industry.
It's the wild, wild west. You kind of make it up as you go along.
Money really does grow on trees in the form of oranges, but you got to work for it.
It's a full tour.
Step inside Showcase of Citrus in Claremont.
We get a lot of families from cities, and they get to come here and just play and get dirty.
And it's like stepping back in time. Nostalgia, hodgepodge, roadside Americana, everything citrus.
We have citrus blossom candles, citrus salsa, citrus soap, citrus candy, citrus wine, orange juice slushies, the creamsicles.
People can pick their own oranges, but also they get to enjoy the fragrance of all the blossoms. We grow over 50 varieties of citrus.
What do you want to be to them when they come here?
They want a little slice of Florida, we can give them the slice of Florida.
Like daily tours on a monster truck of the 2,500-acre ranch. John Arnold's grandfather started the farm outside Winter Garden more than half a century ago.
Back in those days, if you had a 5-acre home site and you planted citrus around your house, you might be able to send your kids to college just with the fruit that came off those trees. My parents would come out on the weekends, and I just couldn't wait to get out here and pick oranges and eat tangerines.
But Arnold realized in 1989, after a decade of devastating freezes, that he had to offer more than just the oranges in the groves, because the industry he so loved was changing.
If we were to have a devastating freeze and we were out of oranges for a year or two, we have a lot of other things going on to where we'll be able to continue to stay open. The core strength of this operation is diversity.
Diversity because of uncertainty. Citrus arrived via European explorers in the 16th century, but by the 1800s, it was a bona fide industry in Florida, despite crippling freezes. And by the 1940s, Central Florida was its beating heart. The big name for that blossoming industry at the time, Dr. Philip Phillips. At the peak of his career, Dr. Phillips owned more than 5,000 acres of citrus groves in Florida. His groves spread over an incredible 18 square miles in Orange County alone and were a mainstay in 8 neighboring counties as well. Running through the heart of the industry was the literal spine of the state, U.S. Highway 27. We are focusing on a 60-some-mile stretch that runs between Lake and Polk counties.
Most people don't realize how important agriculture is to Florida. Citrus is probably the most important part.
Florida is the nation's largest producer of orange juice, even today, with the economic impact of $8.5 billion. Through the years, it's promised a big payoff, a payoff that, at its boom, was worth the gamble for many budding entrepreneurs.
Land speculators would buy land, and they would market this land in places like Chicago or Cleveland, Ohio. For people to come down to Florida, they could buy 20 acres of land and grow citrus.
Fifth-generation Florida citrus grower Charles Roper says tough times like the Great Depression fueled individual farmers to join forces and form the Roper Growers Cooperative.
Either file bankruptcy, or we can all go together, join a cooperative, pool our resources together, and work our way out of this.
His family's business blossomed, and not just the groves, at one point 4,000 acres, but also offshoot ideas like fertilizer and citrus helicopters that did aerial spraying. His father was first to introduce a juice concentrate plant in South Central Florida.
We were kids, you know, going out into the grove and having an orange fight and watching the harvesting equipment come through.
Citrus was a profitable investment, and US 27,
one of the consistent roads that's seen the industry change.
The gateway to getting rich.
Well, I tell my grandkids, when I see orange, I really see green.
Archie Rich runs a roadside fruit stand along 27. Fittingly, it has been there for 27 years. He remembers when all you could see along the road was citrus.
As far as you could drive, it was just orange trees, left to right, east to west.
You could not go anywhere without smelling orange blossoms, which to me is one of the most phenomenal scents in the world.
It used to be so heavy that going up Highway 27, you know, was like fog.
But freezes in the late 1980s put many farmers out of business.
One memory that I'll never forget was actually going out of the house and walking into the groves and hearing what sounded like gunshots. It sounded like rifle shots. And it was the trunk of the trees actually splitting from freezing.
But Roper growers hung on.
Dad always told me that we always have to have at least 2 years of operating expenses in the bank, cash. You needed to be prepared for the bad times as much as being ready for the lucrative times.
Freezes taking farmers' bank accounts from black to red and pushing the industry itself further and further south down 27.
Freezes would destroy the crops so badly that many owners decided to sell to developers.
But it wasn't just the cold snaps that forced adaptations. It would be a more formidable foe that's proven to be the single biggest threat to the industry.
It has hit the entire industry, no matter where you have a citrus tree.
Citrus greening has swept through Florida's citrus groves during the past couple of decades. It's also called HLB, which comes from the disease's Chinese name.
Huang Long Bing. Huang is yellow, Long is shoot, and Bing means disease. So yellow shoot disease.
Dr. Fred Gemitter and others study greening and the bug that carries the disease from plant to plant. It's called the psyllid. The psyllid was first discovered in Florida in 1998.
In general, the industry made a really bad conclusion that we know this insect moves citrus greening, but we don't have greening in Florida, so it's probably not a problem.
7 years later, in 2005, farmers found Florida's first symptomatic tree. Greening was already here. Experts think someone brought budwood, which is a bud with a bit of bark attached to it, from an infected tree into Florida from somewhere else. It's thought that person then grafted the buds onto a rootstock. It's a young tree with an established root system. Thus, that tree was infected, and the psyllid was able to spread the disease from tree to tree throughout Florida. Soon, it was everywhere. By 2006, greening was found in 12 Florida counties. Almost a decade later, it had infected trees in all citrus-producing counties, decimating groves throughout the state.
The fruit, in a sense, don't really mature properly, and the complex chemistry of flavor is fouled up. So you no longer have a very delicious, juicy piece of fruit.
Since the onset of greening, citrus production in Florida has decreased by 74%. As a result, the entire industry has been downsizing, with the number of growers dropping by nearly 5,000. And as researchers scramble to understand the disease, Florida farmers struggling with greening are now facing additional challenges.
We've had to learn to adapt. And then the other disease that we're fighting is development.
This section was 4 lanes, and then it's 6 now. And it's a constant
And it's still
flow.
packed.
Instead of mile after mile of beautiful citrus groves, you'll see housing developments.
Cheaper for farmers to sell the land than fend off greening.
If you don't already own the land with current land prices for a lot of places, you can't cash flow citrus any longer.
By the 90s, the Roper family saw the writing on the wall. They're still growing some citrus, supplying raw oranges to Citrus World and Florida's Natural, but they started branching out. Like in Winter Garden, where they got their start. Once the largest shipping point in all of North America. Now the Roper Garden building houses a ballroom, coffee shop, martini bar, and on the rooftop, an experimental aqua and hydroponics lab, Green Sky Growers.
We grow fish, we grow vegetables, we grow lettuce, different types of plants up here.
This is nothing like citrus.
No. But a farmer's a farmer.
The industry is nothing like it was when Florida's allure was citrus and US 27 wasn't just housing developments. Now, postcards, shipping labels serve as reminders. At William G. Rowe & Son, they're still operating out of Winter Haven, still the largest tangerine producer in the state. And third-generation grower Quentin Rowe thinks Florida's future is still citrus.
You go through those hard times, you take your chips, you push them back up on the table, or you decide you're going to walk away. And every time we've hit that point, we've pushed the chips back up on the table and said, no, this is still a good business.
Their focus is on 3 varieties that have proven to be more resilient to greening. Rowe himself is on a board which funds new variety development across the state.
There is enough money going into curative research that I am optimistic that we'll have a solution.
And in the meantime, researchers work feverishly on developing hardier rootstocks, better nutrition, gene editing, all trying to keep the industry afloat as they look for a more permanent solution.
Do you think we'll ever find the magic silver bullet?
Maybe. We keep looking.
For many Florida farmers, growing citrus is a passion. It's a way of life.
This is the grove I grew up in. My wife and I actually bought my parents' home. So this is like coming home.
Sweet blooms, intoxicating.
Describe the smell.
Gosh, this is like the nectar of the gods. It's so sweet.
You can still find groves now further south along US 27. Citrus evoking a strong sense of nostalgia of what was.
Just the smell of the blossoms, the wind in our hair.
What was it like?
He's gonna get teary.
It was amazing.
And what still could be.
I hope that the growers who are still in the business today will be in the business 5 years from now. I hope that the industry will continue an upward recovery from the low point it's at.
It's still got a life here. What that life is going to be seen in the future.
There are farmers now who will tell you that citrus greening made them better farmers. They've had to learn how to be better.
Do you think we'll see a time where Florida isn't known for citrus anymore?
I hope not. I hope not.